Welcome once again to Jazz Lockdown, the programme that puts our regular panellists of Pete Long, Alan Barnes and Alex Garnett to the test. You are invited to donate as little as £1 towards each show, which will be equally divided between the contributors, with 50% of the total amount going to Macmillan Cancer Support, by following the PayPal link below. Chaired by Alyn Shipton, this episode's special guest is Ivo Neame.
Well, welcome to the latest Jazz Lockdown. We've got our regular panelists and a very special welcome to our special guest today, Ivo Neame. Ivo, hello.
Hi.
And bringing up the applause, the odd bit of dark glassesery around the place, we have Mr. Alan Barnes.
Hello, folks.
We have Alex Garnett.
Hello there.
And looking younger every week, Pete Long.
Hello.
Now, we're going to start with an introductory round where we have a little sort of getting into the spirit of things. And I thought this week we'd start with Alan. So, Alan, who told the story of 40 Flying Fletchers and did invisible juggling on BBC Radio 3?
That was a man I was lucky enough to write quite a lot of songs with, Alan Plater, the playwright.
Yeah, it was indeed, in that show called Beiderbecke and All That Jazz.
That's right.
Is it true that you put Nigel Hitchcock in as a dep and you told Alan you got a better gig for less money?
I did tell him that, yeah. That was a notable thing about Alan. Whenever, you know what musicians are like, after the show you start talking and having a few beers. And Alan never said anything, but then you'd see things used to turn up in his writing later on that he'd nicked off us. So,
Yeah, I got that from his book about the whole thing. Who paid tribute to the art of song in words and music and might be described as the cat in a hat?
the cat in a hat. This is my question, is it?
It's your question.
Oh, the cat in the hat. It's Johnny M. Johnny M.
No, think hard of the art of song in words and music.
Oh, Christ.
It's a Woodville thingamy, Bob.
It's a record, is it?
Yeah.
Art of Song. Oh, I know. Jim Hart.
Yes.
Christ.
Right. Jim Hart, who is wearing a hat on the front of the album. So I thought cat in a hat in both senses.
I can see a column of them from here.
And indeed, Mr. Neame is on that very record.
He is, yeah.
Right. So, Pete, your go now. Who was the featured soloist in Trombonio Bustosissimo?
I'm going to guess.
Yeah.
Buster Cooper.
And you're right.
Oh,
God.
God.
Written for him. Did you ever meet Buster?
I did a tour with him.
Did you?
Yeah, and every solo he did the thing that he did. That was like his thing, wasn't it?
Well, that's the Trombonio Bustosissimo, isn't it?
Nice.
Right. Pete, your next question. Where did you tell the Duke Ellington Society UK what to leave out?
Where did I tell them this?
Yeah. Or in what organ did you tell them that? I think
Well,
they only...
the only organ they have was their newsletter,
Which is called?
Blue Light.
That's the one.
But I can't remember what I told them to leave out. I must have left it out.
In volume 20, number 4, autumn 2013, I found a very interesting article by you about editing Ellington scores called What to Leave Out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was
There you
all
are.
a blur. It was all a blur.
Memory test. Alex, which jazz performing Parker comes from Plymouth and toured with you and Craig Milverton back in 2010?
Jazz performing
Parker.
Oh.
From Plymouth. She's still at it.
Is he now?
She is.
She is, yeah.
Oh.
Anybody else going to help Alex out here?
It's not Annie Parker, is it? No.
No, it's a singer called Louise Parker.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Vocalist. The vocalist, of course.
Right, Alex, who said that Charlie Parker would suddenly look down and he'd see his fingers just moving on the saxophone like a blur doing their own thing, and he felt it wasn't even himself anymore, it was like he wasn't playing the instrument was playing him?
Who said that of Charlie Parker?
Yeah.
Was it Dizzy Gillespie?
No, actually, it's somebody called Alex Garnett in a book called Experiencing Flow and Jazz Performance by Elina Haitoten in the University of Eastern Finland.
Oh my gosh!
We are shocking chroniclers of our own output, aren't we?
Alan, why did you bring up these obscure performers?
Well, you know, I read them all the time.
Wow. Oh.
Right, let's see if we can catch Ivo
Lord help
in
me.
slightly more memorable mode. So, Ivo, where might we find Room 1003?
That's on an album that I did called Moksha.
Actually, I was thinking more of the very new album.
Oh yeah, I just recycled it for
Yeah. So what's the new one called?
Multiverse.
Yeah, so it's those two albums, great. And they feature the Cat in the Hat, of course.
Yeah, well, one of them does. Yeah.
Yeah, the latest one with Jim Hart.
Yeah.
What, after a green delay, was Pitch Black?
What was it?
What was Pitch Black?
It was a concert kind of series, I guess. Or
Yeah, so you're going to tell us a bit more about them.
well, we were playing in the dark, and it's pretty fun actually. Some people had to be taken out actually of the theatre because they didn't feel very well when it was.
Because this is Phronesis, isn't it? And it was Jasper's idea when his sister lost her sight that he would do concerts where nobody could see.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it weird playing in the dark?
Yeah, it took a while to get used to it. We had to kind of practice with blindfolds, a bit like that film Eyes Wide Shut or something.
Yeah, and when you say people were taken out, I mean, how did that happen? Because if it was all dark, how could they see the way out?
I think that they had some kind of signal to take themselves out.
Infrared stewards or something.
Yes, not quite, but yeah.
Right. Anyway, we're coming on now to the next round, which is called Old and New Stuff. So, Pete, who shared A Prelude to a Kiss with Johnny Hodges at the greatest jazz concert in the world in the Hollywood Bowl in July 1967? If you've got the album, you'll know.
I have got the album. It's very notable for sort of T-bone walkers all over it, isn't he?
Yes, but on this particular track,
Who was sitting in with Johnny Hodges?
in fact, played most of the Hodges part.
I can't remember. I've got
Anybody
the
else? Anybody else know?
Benny Carter?
Alan, you're right. Benny Carter. He was guest soloist for the band. So now, bonus question, Pete. Which piece by Carter was recorded by Ellington in 1932?
Oh, I'll guess When Lights Are Low.
It's earlier than that. Anybody else know?
Not Symphony in Riffs, is it?
No, it's a piece called Jazz Cocktail,
Oh,
which is, you know, it's kind of right in the middle of a lot of other better known pieces. Pete, who used his Dukeability lens to examine a series of orbs, according to that man about jazz, Frank Griffith?
Could you repeat that? I couldn't take it on board.
I'm having to make a little chart here with wires and bits of string and flags. Frank Griffith and orbs. I mean, there's a Venn diagram I thought I'd never see.
Frank described somebody as using his Dukeability lens to examine a series of orbs. I'm quoting that directly from his review.
Oh, is it Frank talking about me and my planet?
It is, yes. Well done.
There we go.
So, yeah. Right, Alex, who wrote the song that featured you on a BBC Radio New Generation Artists Christmas Day broadcast last December with Misha Muliver-Bardo with Liam Dykey and David Ingemels?
Who composed?
The song that you played on that show.
Oh my God.
It's just been mentioned by somebody.
Oh, of course, it's Benny Carter, When Lights Are Low.
Yep, Benny Carter.
We recorded about 5 different tunes that day.
Yeah, the other one that actually got played on the show was Let It Snow by Julie Stein, but the main bit that was in the Radio Times and everything was When Lights Are Low.
Oh,
Right. Who began his solo career by taking off from the Brecker Brothers? It's a good title for a first album, used by lots of people, including this person.
Oh, Herbie Hancock.
Nope.
No, that is Herbie Hancock.
Think about the Brecker brothers,
Yes, sir.
who also played reeds in that band.
Oh, Michael Brecker.
Also.
Oh, I give up.
Anybody else?
David Sanborn.
Yep.
Oh,
David Sanborn. It was his,
That's the first time Alan's ever said that.
No, I bought that album when it came out.
Did ya?
1978. I was at college.
Right. Well, maybe Alex will get this one. Whose work was Sanborn exploring on the album Diminutive Mysteries, along with fellow altoist Tim Byrne? It's been an obsession of Tim Byrne's for years, this other reed player.
I have no idea, I'm afraid to say.
Anybody else know?
Anthony Braxton, is it?
Coming from that corner, but no.
Is it Archie Shepp?
No, it's
Not John.
Julius Hemphill.
Henry
All
Frederick.
right, Julian Hemphill.
Julius Hemphill. Right. Ivo, let's see how you do. Whose band plays in early scenes of the Gregory Peck Ava Gardner film The Snows of Kilimanjaro?
I haven't got a clue, I'm afraid.
Anybody else know? Well, the answer is Benny Carter.
No.
Oh,
Him again.
Him again, yeah. So anybody, this is for a bonus question for anybody know another film in which Benny appears as a band leader in which Gene Kelly is taken to hear him in a nightclub?
It's not Key Largo.
Nope. Other side of the Atlantic.
American in Paris.
Yep.
Hey.
Dead right, Pete. Yeah, it's that scene early on where he's taken to hear a band in a club, and it's Benny Carter's band. So, Ivo, whose accordion coalesced together with a London-based American trumpeter?
What the actual accordion? Sorry, I can
Think about coalesced, or that's the key. Whose accordion coalesced together with a London-based American trumpeter?
London-based. Well, that could be Andre Kenya.
It is. And what's the album?
Oh, it's called Coalescence. Yeah.
Yep. And who happens to be on it?
I do as well.
Well spotted.
Right. Alan, it's your go now. Who recorded Poor Butterfly in London with Elizabeth Welch in 1936 and was then reunited with her on stage at the Pizza Express in 1984, where they performed the same song?
Is it another singer?
No.
Right.
Benny Carter.
Is it Benny Carter? Yeah.
Yeah, it is Benny Carter.
Sorry,
So,
I
who
worked with
was?
Elizabeth.
it's the beer talking.
Who was having a girls' night out that evening with Elizabeth Welch at the Pizza Express?
I know this. I can't remember her name though. The Creole Love Call lady.
That's the one. You get half a point for that if you can remember the other bit.
Oh, Christ. No. Give us a sec. Can you come back at the end of the quiz?
Pete, I think, is bursting to do the Creole Love Call lady.
Adelaide Hall,
Yeah, Adelaide Hall.
I
not
actually
Betty Carter. Got the other default answer.
Yeah, it would have been, wouldn't it? Now, Alan, Adelaide appeared in a BBC television film in 1989 with a UK big band led by an American reed player and featuring some royal music. What was the event?
led by an American band leader.
And a UK-based American band leader.
Okay. Was I on it?
Strange, I thought you were, and I discovered that you weren't. The reed section had Tony Coe, and Ronnie Ross was playing baritone in that particular band.
I can't think
But
of it.
you were in this band from time to time.
Well, not the Midnight Follies.
No, it's an American. Well, I know that they did have Napoleon, as he was known in the trade. This is somebody who played soprano saxophone.
Oh, Bob Wilbur, of course.
Yeah, it's Bob Wilbur's Royal Suite. They did the Queen Suite, but the Royal Concert was putting that in context.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's an interesting. We have Alyn and Pete on level pegging at the moment,
Oh,
and strangely not the other two quite yet. But we'll see how we do. So, Ivo, this is your chance. This is your round, where basically you get a set of personal questions, and at the moment you have 10 to beat. Just see if you can get all 10 in a full house in questions which largely relate to you. So it's all you this round. Who wrote music under the name of Sebastian Scott?
That was my grandmother,
Yeah, what was her name?
Sheena Fraser.
Yeah, absolutely. Which saxophonist celebrated a spring dance and a place of welcome among the birds?
Marius Nasser.
Yep. All tracks on his album Birds. Which Hindu journey involves a Tory, a Yard, and a descendant of Kemet?
Yatra.
Yep, that's right. I would like to put people out of their misery as to why.
That's because Shabaka and Tory, Freestone, and who else? Yeah, Jason Yard. They all played on that.
That's it, absolutely. Whose Iberian roots are celebrated in the Spanish word for tunes?
Julian Abuelis.
Yep. Doing very well so far. Yeah, that's a record called Tornados Tunes with you and James Madron and Sam Asserson. Who studied physics in university before turning to music for the kind of life we know?
I think that's Ant Law.
It is. Well done. Who's just landed on planet B?
I think Jasper Hoybe's name.
Yeah, Jasper Hoybe. Whose opportune moment was all Greek?
Adam Waldman.
Yep, because that first album was called Opportune Moment. Well, Kairos means opportune moment. The Kairos Quartet. So this is the difficult one. Whose former Parliament building did you play in with that band? And I know because I was there and reviewed it for the Times.
Former Parliament building.
Yep.
Which country do you mean? Or
It was in the UK, but it was a former Parliament building. I think the 1640s.
Must have been the Oxford in the Bodleian Library.
It was exactly. It was Charles I's Convocation Room Parliament from the Civil War period, and you played in the Bodleian Library. The first ever jazz concert in the Bodleian Library.
yeah.
Where in normal times in southeast England would you find a jazz and blues club on the last Wednesday of every month, just yards from a brewery?
St Austell.
No, I think it might be closer to home than that. Have another think.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah. In which southeast England town would you find a jazz and blues club on the last Wednesday of every month, just yards from a brewery?
It must be Faversham.
Yep, it is.
I didn't know there was.
Yeah, the Railway Hotel Faversham is just down the road from Shepherd Neame, which has a minor connection with you. And I used to play there with Sammy Remington, so I know it's there. Yes, I think we should toast Shepherd Neame at this point.
And all the joy they brought.
Oddly enough, Sammy Remington was the name Humph used to bring up in conversation to get you to say to see if you were pissed before you went on. Pete Strange fell into that trap many times.
I was going to say, you should try being in
the long hair. Oh, yeah. Sammy Remington.
Well, you should try being in his band for 5 years.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, that sounds attractive.
I've got one more for you, Ivo. It's who are your fellow vegetarians?
James Madron, Tom Palmer, and George Crowley.
Absolutely. That's 10 out of 10. Very well done. I think you get a round of applause for that from all of us. So, yes, you and Mr. Arguelles doing very well at the top of the league table at the moment. So, now we get to Just a Lockdown. So this is the bit that is a bit like Just a Minute, where you will be talking without hesitation, repetition or deviation for a minute on a subject which may or may not have some relevance to you. So Alex, you can go first today.
Okay.
And your subject is trading fours. So starting from now, can you talk about trading fours? Off you go.
Trading fours is the division of time within the measures of a complete tune. If you have a 32-bar tune, it can be divided up into measures whereby instruments can trade with each other.
I think we had a challenge there.
I think there was 2 divided, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were quite a lot of tunes as well, but I'll go with the divideds. So Alan, you pick it up, a point for you, and off we go. You have, I can't do the maths, 36 seconds starting now.
Trading fours in jazz can happen between 2 members of the front line or between, say, a saxophonist.
Mr. Long, I think there was a challenge there.
Deviation from saxophone.
Yes, it was saxophone.
Yes, I think saxophone didn't quite do it for me. Right, Pete, on you go.
Trading fours seems to have
Who got in
You're
first?
talking absolute rubbish.
yes, new words, whole new words.
Right, Alan, I think you got it back. Off you go now.
Trading fours is a way of making a tune go on a little bit longer when you're a bit short of material for an album. Let's swap some fours with the drummer, somebody might suggest, or between members of the front line. My old saxophone teacher, Dave Cooper, used to say, the thing about a drum solo is you have to know where they are, but you also have to know where they think they are.
Alex?
As a cruel interjection of a hesitation there.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
So, Alex, you have it back again. So off you go. You have 7 seconds.
Oh,
Trading fours between musicians can be a lot of fun. Everyone can take their turn.
Did I hear...
he's used the word between before.
He has. You have it back. You have 2 seconds, Alan, starting now.
Trading fours is one of the least exciting...
Well, that's interesting. Right, Pete, it's going to be you next.
okay.
I'll just reset the magical clock here. So, Pete, could you talk for a minute on the subject of things found in the bandwagon? Starting now.
Things found in the bandwagon depends on the definition of the eponymous vehicle. A bandwagon could be either a movement in music in order to garner popularity, favour and money, or it could actually be the rickety old thing a band would travel around in order to get to its gigs. If the definition relies on the latter, then things found in the bandwagon are multifarious.
Is that a repetition of bandwagon, or am I out for...
I'm allowed as many bandwagons as I want,
Yeah,
aren't I?
I beg your pardon.
Bandwagons, you'd always repeat the subject.
Beg your pardon.
And things too, because that's part of the title. So on you go, Pete.
The Pasadena Roof Orchestra's bandwagon was notable for its notorious library of love stories, which were stored on the back seat in a huge decaying pile. A variety of stories involving carnal activities between men and women, unparalleled in recent social history. The Pasadena Roof Orchestra, Frankie Vaughan... Yes?
Alan?
Pasadena Roof Orchestra have made a...
bugger. Yes, you're right.
It was getting really interesting at that point. You could see everybody not challenging on the other 2 minor repetitions that popped up. Anyway, that one was a bit too big to miss. Well, the Pasadena Roof Orchestra is too big to miss. But
Yes.
Alan, you have the subject back, starting now.
Much as I hate to contradict my good friend Peter Long, I have to say that when I was in the band, in the...
Well done.
Well done.
it was kept on the roof rack, Pete. Not
Was
the
it?
roof
Oh,
rack.
I've got the earlier Lytton version of the truth. I think Lytton used to sleep on it.
I was going to say they kept him on the roof rack, didn't they? Anyway, right. Alan,
Oh,
could you talk, please, for 1 minute on the subject of motorway service stations, starting now?
motorway service stations have become ridiculously expensive in recent years. Dick Pearce told me once that they used to stop regularly at Ronnie's at the Blue Boar station. Now, this name, the eponymous name of this station, became
Repetition of name.
Yes.
Station.
Oh,
well-
did somebody else have it as well?
Stations is fine because that's in the subject, but you got it for the name, right? Alex, keep with it, you know.
I know. I'm getting so,
So excited by the idea of Dick Pearce and the expensive petrol. Right, on we go. Pete, take it from here. Now,
Given that most jazz musicians' job is actually driving up and down motorways and A roads in Britain and short, unpleasant interludes of playing in the middles of all of that, motorway service stations have become notable waypoints on the journeys to work where often inadvertent meetings take place. I, last Christmas, was coming home from a gig at the Farnham Jazz Club, and who came into the Marks and Sparks on the Guildford bypass but Clark Tracey. In fact, Ian Shaw had just finished somewhere else. Georgina Jackson was there. And as we drew off in our car, we noticed that Nicky Isles was pulling up as well. So Marks and Sparks, Sparks twice.
very nearly. That was going so well. I think that's Ivo, isn't it?
I didn't challenge, but I can give it a go.
Well, somebody did. Was it Alan challenged?
At least my clarinet mouthpiece. Yeah.
In that case, you get the next go. So, Alan, would you like to carry on there with this one just for the last second? Starting now.
Well, Dick Pearce, as I was saying, you could have got me for repetition there, a Dick Pearce.
Yeah, but nobody quite got in there in time. Anyway, very good. So just before we go to Ivo's round, anybody else got a good motorway? So I liked your one very much, Pete, about meeting everybody at the motorway service station.
And they'd all come back from Christmas gigs as well. So everybody's bags were jangling with sort of sleigh bells and, Christmas hats and, artificial jazz festivity. Much discussion on which changes you use in the middle eight of Winter Wonderland. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I ran into Pete King, Don Weller, who I was driving, Mornington Lockett and Dick Pearce, and we sat there in absolute silence until I said, this constant rabbiting is getting on my nerves. Nobody said anything, So anyway.
Well, I remember stopping at Watford Gap. We were just finishing a tour with Snub Mosley, he of the Toupee, from a few shows back.
Toupees again, excellent.
And 3 a.m, we went into Watford Gap, and they used to have, you probably remember, those big photographs of all the food up and above the counter. So he pointed at it. He said, I'll have the eggs, I'll have the bacon, I'll have the chips. And she said, the woman behind the counter said, chips is off, dear. Eggs is off. You can have the bacon. So he sat there with one strip of bacon. I've never seen a man so sad. As he sat tucking into it, all of Hump's band came in just after you'd left, actually, Alan. It was the version with Kathy and Pete and everything. Yeah. But they thought, it's Snub Mosley. But he was not talking to anyone. So fed up was he by the fact that the big picture of the food didn't replicate itself in reality. Anyway, right.
I remember bumping into Alan, actually, I think twice at various motorway service stations.
Right.
You probably don't remember it at all, but
I don't actually. What did anything happen? Was I nice to you? I try to be nice to younger people because they come up and bite you on the arse.
Right, Ivo, it's your turn anyway now. So could you talk for a minute, please, on the subject of out-of-tune pianos? Starting now.
Out-of-tune pianos are a real problem for pianists, producers, recording engineers, all kinds of people. They're a blight on a musician's life. The real problem is no pianist is interested in...
Alan, you challenge.
Pianist.
Yeah, there was a repetition of pianist. You're doing really well there, Ivo. That was great. I like the measured delivery.
It's a good, steady flow, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, Alan, would you like to carry on with out-of-tune pianos?
Out-of-tune pianos. I once saw a pianist complaining about such an item, and he said, this piano is out of tune. And somebody said, well, who told you? Which was an insult. Hesitation.
Thank you, Pete. I wonder if you ever get there. Pete, I think you can pick up the subject of out-of-tune pianos, starting now.
An interesting aspect of the out-of-tune piano is it adds an awful lot of colour to some period jazz recordings. Errol Garner, for example, is notable for performing on record on a very large selection of out-of-tune pianos, and there's something about them that makes the music slightly appealing and even slightly clang-down.
Hesitation.
Yeah,
I know,
hesitation,
I
Alex.
talk about Errol Garner as well. I love Errol.
Preposition is slightly.
I know, slightly.
Yeah, there was a few playings as
Double
well. We won't
play,
worry
yeah.
about that. Alex, you got there first, so you have 1 second starting now.
Out-of-tune pianos are a very subjective matter, because actually pianos are out of tune with themselves.
Ah,
Well done. My dinosaur friend is very impressed. Right,
exactly again.
we're now almost at the final round. So just before we go into that, I'd just like to thank everybody who's been subscribing to this, and particularly the support that we've been able to give to Macmillan Cancer treatment at this time, because obviously with COVID-19 occupying everybody, it doesn't make cancer go away. And I think particularly this week we should remember one victim of cancer, the late John Cumming, who succumbed in the last few days. And certainly, you know, yeah. So definitely we ought to be thinking about what we can do for cancer support. So everybody who supported us, thanks very much. Right, this is the quickfire round. So you can, I think, just jump in, and I will hope to notice. And the others of you can put me right if I spot the wrong one. So right, Philly Joe Jones was heavily featured on which Sonny Rollins album recorded in 1957?
Nuke's Time.
Ooh, I think that was a simultaneous from Alex, who I heard first, so you definitely get a point there. And who else said it?
Me.
Yeah, Ivo. Right, point each. Right, carry on. In 1950, Rollins spent 10 months in jail. What was his crime?
Narcotics.
Nope,
Drunk driving.
nope.
Tax evasion.
Did you say sax evasion? No, it was armed robbery.
Wow.
I didn't know.
That.
Which other famous saxophonist was arrested for armed robbery in a pharmacy in
Bob
Seattle?
Stan Getz.
Stan Getz.
Wow. And Bob Berg.
I didn't know Bob Berghaus. You got a bonus point for that. Better be true.
Yes.
Right. On the Getz album, Captain Marvel, who's the keyboard player?
Chick Corea.
Yeah.
Alex was in there first with that one. Where did Corea's family originally hail from?
Italy.
Spain.
Yeah. Ivo. Well done. Spain, did I hear from somewhere?
Of course.
Right. Which Italian pianist and regular visitor to London quite recently made a recording with guests Christian Brewer and Shaney Forbes?
Davo Moroni.
Nope.
Oh, it's the other one. I know.
Enrico Piernucci.
No. It's Andrea Pozza.
That's it.
Which Luton-based independent label has Pozza recorded for?
Saying,
Yeah, Ivo was in there first with that one. Which West Coast pianist, West Coast US pianist, shares the surname of 33 Records producer?
Pete Jolly.
Yeah, well done, Alan. Now, Pete Jolly was a prolific session musician as well as a performer. Whose keyboard role did he play in Clint Eastwood film Bird?
Bud Powell.
Yep, well done, Alex. Who said of Powell in 1979, if I had to choose one single musician for his artistic integrity, for the incomparable originality of his creation and the grandeur of his work, it would be Bud Powell. He was in a class by himself.
Art Tatum.
No.
Chick Corea.
No, there's only one pianist I can think of who could string a sentence like that together at that period.
Keith Jarrett.
No, it was Bill Evans.
Oh, Bill Evans.
Wow.
Yeah, Jarrett could do that, that's true. Which guitarist said of Evans, despite the belief that the piano and guitar are impossible to join, it went really easy with
Jim
Bill?
Hall.
Jim Hall, yeah.
Yeah, Alex, well done. Jim Hall once said, I don't listen to music very much now because it tends to influence what I'm doing. Which piece of music did he then request for a Desert Island disc?
In the Mood.
No.
Was it a Bill Evans track?
No, it was John Cage's 433.
Oh.
Which TV program showcased a version of 433 on their Nice Jazz Club?
Oh, yeah.
Our show.
Yeah, I think that... I got Alan first. Anybody else think that? You in there as well, weren't you, Ivor? So,
Maybe there's a latency there.
yeah, points each for Ivor and Alan.
Super nice. Smashing.
Who wrote the music for the Broadway musical Showboat?
Jerome Kern.
Yep,
Sir.
well done.
Oh, Christ.
Old Man River was one of the hits from that show in 1990. Who recorded a version with her trio led by Brian D?
Elaine Del Mar.
Yep. Voted Melody Maker New Star of 1960, Brian D joined the Jazz Five and performed in a nationwide tour opposite which visiting American?
Miles Davis.
Yep. 3 months before his death in July 1991, Miles recorded a live concert in Montreux with the Gil Evans Orchestra alongside the George Grunt Concert Jazz Band. Who shared the trumpet duties?
Wallace Roney.
Yep.
It's just
Wallace
that-
Roney, who
Yeah.
sadly, yes, died of COVID-19 last month. Who was the conductor of that concert?
Quincy
Chris
Jones.
Jones.
Yeah, I think we got Ivo and Pete in exactly the same moment there. In over 60 years, how many Grammy nominations has Quincy received?
22.
23? 26?
38.
50.
45.
40?
80.
No
80
way!
nominations.
Ah.
Right. 81, the composition is credited to Miles Davis and Ron Carter. Which album is it on?
Like evil?
ESP.
ESP. EST was an acronym for which band?
Esmore Svensson Trio.
Yeah, I think Alex just jumped in there ahead of everybody.
Trying to move my lips.
Well, hard to see with those glasses. EST was the first European jazz group to make the front page of Downbeat in 2006. Which decade was Downbeat founded in Chicago?
1950.
1950.
30.
Or 1960.
The 30s. Was that you, Pete? Well
Wow.
done.
Woo.
Right. In a Sentimental Mood was composed the year Downbeat was founded, 1933. 53 years later, Michael Brecker recorded it as a duet playing the Iwi with whom on keyboards?
Herbie Hancock.
Joey DiCaronazo.
No.
As a duo.
Yeah.
Doc Grolnick.
No. Think steps ahead.
Oh, Ilian Nelias.
Nope.
Doc Grolnick.
Oh.
Jacques DeJohnette.
No. That was a vibes player. It was Mike Maneri.
All right.
Oh,
Oh.
the vibes player. That's a
All
vibe.
right. All right, they will say with...
Did you say keyboard or did you see
It
vibraphone?
was actually playing keyboards on that record.
Wow, amazing.
Right. Anyway, that is the end of this contest today.
Ouch.
So, interestingly, Alex and Ivo are tied in third place with 10 points each. Pete has crept into second place with 12 and a half. And Alan has the rather low score for him of 16 and a half.
Tough one this week.
Yeah,
Tough
very
one.
tough one. Anyway,
After
thank you all
playing
very
it
much
down
for taking
thick.
part. So thanks to Ivo for being our guest.
Thanks very much.
Oh, good. Getting 10 out of 10 on your personal questions. That's really good. Thanks to Pete.
Thank you.
Thanks to Alex.
Ta-ta.
And thanks to Alan.
Bye.
I'm Alyn Shipton. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye.
That was Jazz Lockdown, a series of programs devised by Clark Tracey and presented by Alyn Shipton, with Pete Long, Alan Barnes and Alex Garnett, with special guest Ivo Neame. You are invited to donate as little as £1 towards each show, which will be equally divided between the contributors, with 50% of the total amount going to Macmillan Cancer Support by following the PayPal link below. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to your company next time.